Who's Soldier Boy? What's this dance y'all be doing? You! But this is not going to be a Soldier Boy music video. Instead, we are going to discuss ATP in this little video here. So ATP, I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you might know a little bit about it. But after this mini episode, you'll definitely understand ATP, at least the basis of it. So ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Really just need to know ATP, but we'll get into the breakdown of adenosine triphosphate in a moment here. Try saying that 10 times fast. But ATP is an organic molecule that functions pretty much doing two things. It functions as chemical energy and also transfers that energy to other sites within the cell. So that's kind of the technical jargon for it. Essentially, that energy or ATP is used for any reaction in the body that requires energy. So whether it's muscle contraction, nerve conduction, catabolic reactions, anabolic reactions, any reaction in the body requires ATP in one shape or form. So ATP is not necessarily energy. ATP is like the energy currency. It's the release of energy. So ATP actually isn't energy, but it does store that energy to be released. So pretty much think of it like this: it's ATP is similar to the token to play any game in an arcade. So each game, aka reaction that requires energy, needs tokens, ATP, to play. So although there's different games, muscle contraction, nerve conduction, different reactions in the body, although there's different games, you use the same token. So ATP is used for muscle contraction, nerve conduction. Every other reaction that happens in the body does require that ATP or that energy currency or that token, if you will, in order to play the game, or aka a reaction that requires energy. So ATP is a modified nucleotide. If you recall from prior episode, I think one or two before this, in the video we discussed nucleotide has a phosphate group, pentose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. So ATP starts with this basic nucleotide and then it modifies it or changes it. So ATP is adenine in a ribose. So it's that pentose sugar, that phosphate group, and then that nitrogenous base at ribose. That's where the adenosine comes from, the A part of the ATP. And then obviously there's a triphosphate, which is three phosphates bound to that adenosine. So bound to the adenine and ribose is a triphosphate, and that's where we get the adenosine triphosphate, ATP. But between this, so we got the adenosine, the adenine, and the ribose over here, and we got three phosphate groups attached. Let's say that. So adenosine, phosphate, phosphate, phosphate group. Between the second and third phosphate group, it's called a high energy bond. So what happens is, so we got the adenosine, phosphate, phosphate, phosphate group. Between these ones, high energy bond. Whenever we go to release energy, say when we're going to lift weights, boom, this energy bond between the second and third phosphate group breaks, and that's what releases energy and allows us to contract our muscles, or allows nerve conduction to happen, or allows any reaction that requires energy to take place. It's because this adenosine, it's got the phosphate group, and a third phosphate group. There's that high energy bond. Whenever we need a reaction, we need energy for a reaction, boom, this phosphate group breaks off. That allows energy to be ready to be used. So pretty simple concept, but when you break it all down, ATP does seem kind of complex with a modified nucleotide, this, that, the next thing. It's pretty much just adenine, ribose, which is the adenosine, and then three phosphates. Just remember, between that second and third phosphate is lots of energy. Once that breaks off, we can use it for nerve conduction, muscle contraction, any reaction in the body. And remember, ATP, not ATB or not ATV. We aren't going quadding or anything like that. ATP is kind of like the token in an arcade to play any of the games. So ATP is used everywhere in our body. So it is that energy currency, or that token, in order to play a certain game or analogous to a certain function that requires energy in our body. So you need the tokens to play the games. You need the ATP for reactions that require energy in the body. So ATP is not necessarily energy itself. It's that storing and releasing of the energy in the body. It's pretty crazy stuff. I use so much ATP in this episode, and I'm sure you used a bunch of ATP watching, listening, taking notes too. So ATP, the gift that keeps on giving. It's a wonderful thing. ATP for all.